Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
All right.
We're back.
Hello.
Back.
Hello.
We're back. After 1 week of absence due to being scared, poopless old guys. That was we're back now. We're back after that, and there's more reason to be scared poopless this week than there was last week. But what the hey?
I just tweeted out a picture of you and me when we weren't old.
Somebody
Is that the Eddie Haskell one?
No, it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
My guy Ryan, the father of my grandchildren's father-in-law, was cleaning out the basement. People are looking for stuff to do here in
Sure.
their lives. And he used to be a regular attendee at our various functions and found the banner or a promotional poster from the one we had at Hubert's that time, that they had a big tent out in the back and everybody, boy, we were young then, man.
So he was the guy who was there.
Oh, no, we had a big crowd at Hubert's.
did?
Yeah, one of the few. It wasn't like the one where we had it on the crooked stage and Joe said, how many people do you think we got here? And I said, give me a minute, I'll count them. Remember that?
Yes, we're on a slanted stage.
It was at that
Where were you?
theater down on 6th and Hennepin.
theater.
6th and Hennepin. The theater, the playhouse down there.
The one that's the Pantages now?
I don't know what the hell it
Okay.
was, but this was on a Monday night when there was no play, so they had us there. But the stage was slanted downward.
Right.
We thought we were going to slide down into the crowd, but we wouldn't have hurt anybody. So. Not that night. We were riding high then. We were a little disappointed nobody showed up for that one. We got used to it later on.
I think we did. What's on your mind, lad?
You know what? I wrote a piece for Sunday on the 1970 Sherburne basketball team, which was the last one-class tournament. And there's been a lot of reaction to this as though if only they'd stuck with one class, it would still be the same in 50 years later. And while I loved the one-class system, just like you loved one-class hockey, 1970... If you look in the Minneapolis and St. Paul papers, the semifinals of the Final Four got 6 graphs with 2 short form. The NCAA tournament was just something that we were mildly aware of 50 years ago. In the Twin Cities, we didn't care about it, and and now it has become this monster that takes over March. And it would not be the same, folks. They would be playing in front of, the hockey tournament. They found it, and they turned that into something special for a lot of weeks a lot of years in March. And they only heard it. They never really heard AA. They just heard A. I mean,
You're losing me here. You're losing me. Are you saying?
So no, what I'm saying is that it wouldn't have been the reason for writing this wasn't saying, boy, were they stupid to go to more classes because they'd still be getting 14,000 people in Williams Arena. No, they wouldn't. It's there's just too much going on out there now to have the same kind of impact it had then.
I couldn't disagree with you more. Not on the remote chance I couldn't disagree with you more. So you got a one-class basketball tournament, and you don't think they're going to draw people?
No, they're going to draw more than they do now, but it wouldn't be like it was when it took over the sports sections for 2 weeks beforehand. It would not be the same.
I still think you could have a one-class hockey tournament, and what proves it is you had teams in the tournament this year, the AA teams, that were getting beat 12-1. They shouldn't have been in a tournament.
Well, another big change since 72 is they let the Catholics in and the privates in 74, 75. That certainly changed the dynamic for the smaller schools in basketball and particularly in hockey.
Yeah.
So, But, I think hockey would certainly work great. I'm just saying that the piece was sort of the reaction to it was, boy, were they stupid. And, what they have now is probably kind of stupid, but we would not have preserved the mania of one-class basketball just because of the competition that there's out there now, is what I'm trying to say.
The tournament, the college tournament, that's just a direct result of incredible marketing, don't you think?
Yes, and we used to all, in the one-class system, my mother's bridge club, would all fill out the 8-team state high school league bracket and throw a buck in a piece, and they thought they were risking their small fortune,
Right.
But that now filling out brackets has become an industry into itself.
Oh, yeah.
Really? It is what's made the thing so huge. It's, what it is? It's the draft of the NFL. The NFL draft is a separate season, is a separate thing. And filling out brackets is a separate thing from the tournament itself, don't you think? I mean, it's like, it's why it's so popular.
Yeah. You mentioned the NFL. I not that I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about it because I really don't care one way or another. Well, what possessed Tampa Bay Buccaneers to give a 42-year-old guy $60 million?
I have no
That's
idea.
the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. Brady to the Bucks for what? $30 million a year for 2 years?
Yeah, but if you're talking strictly financial, they're going to make more than that in jersey sales and ticket sales and everything like. If there's a season, if there's a season,
I think the jersey sales have been hurt a little bit by the fact that when we come back, and the other thing about. We're going to have 30% layoffs, we might have 30% unemployment. All of them football fans.
Yeah.
All of them football fans.
There's a remote chance.
All of them jersey buyers who get drunk 16 weekends a year and watch football games. And those are, a lot of us are going to get hacked. But it's,
You think a lot of us are going to get hacked? Have you seen your 401k?
I don't look. But
that's the key.
I am glad that 6 months ago I decided to take a more aggressive stance with it. So,
attaboy.
Yeah.
Get into that market.
That's right. Anyway, you can't, looking does you no good.
Well, and Pat, Kenny and I suggested to Joe that we'll wheel him in here, 12 years from now to do the podcast. It'll be no problem.
That's right. When I found out I was in trouble, Joe, age-wise? Have this young couple that moved in next to us about a year and a half ago. Nice folks. We were really close to the previous neighbors who were also younger, obviously, but Todd and what the heck's her name? And they have a baby now.
Oh,
and she's a doctor, a young doctor though, so she gets the bad shifts,
Mm-hmm.
And they got the baby. We took some gifts over the whole deal. I got a call from him a couple nights ago from Todd and said, "Say, my wife's going to the store tomorrow. Do you want us to pick something up for you?" Because this was when they told everybody in the country to check on their older neighbors. So I said, we'll be okay, Todd. I'm going twice a day, so it's not okay. But I thought, I must look even more feeble walking up that driveway than I thought I did.
What a nice gesture
It
from
was
the
a
young
great
fella.
gesture.
Pat, they didn't have a baby. They had a baby.
Baby.
A baby.
What's that?
That's Frank Beard, the ZZ Top drummer.
Oh,
I
the
had
baby.
a baby and had to move into my parents' house. It was a Norman Rockwell sitcom.
You are obsessed with ZZ Top this
I
last
am
week.
now. I am now.
They peaked musically 48 years ago, but they're interesting cats.
They really are.
Frank Beard was hysterical in that.
Terribly
thing,
funny.
but sideways, low key. Not
Well, as you
not-
point out, he didn't know he's funny.
He wasn't, but he was. Got my first big check, $72,000 first time.
Somewhere in there.
What'd you do with it?
Well, I spent it on drugs.
Spent it on drugs. Every bit of it.
All of it. How much? All of it.
Then the other great lines when he's walking up the steps there, he says, "I couldn't really afford to be a proper drug addict before."
Right. Then he's ripping Clapton for being not cost efficient in taking heroin.
Yes, right. Yes, right.
He says, of course, Clapton made more money than me.
Yeah, right.
He just wasn't getting a proper buzz the way he was doing it.
Yeah. Oh, it was. It's pretty funny. And
Yeah.
he's the lucky one because he doesn't have to wear that idiotic beard either.
Oh, I know.
Because a blonde, he said that he tried to grow one, and the other two guys had like beards down to their knees after a year, and his was a little tiny. He said, the hell with it. I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
You think baseball will come back this year?
I'd say it's no better than 50-50.
I do too.
I would. I mean, well, how much of the country has the percentage wise? How much right now does the country? 2%.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's use that figure. Yeah.
2%, and they say 70% are going to get it.
Yep.
That's a long summer, baby.
Yep.
It takes a long time to go from 2 to 70. Even if you're multiplying every day, that takes a long time to go from 2 to 70.
Which
I
is
wonder.
the goal.
I wonder why golf wouldn't just conduct the regular tour and just don't allow fans. They make their
If
money from
TV. No,
TV.
TV. They'd have the best TV ratings they've ever had.
Right. Just don't allow fans. And these guys don't get next to each other anyway. Let them walking down opposite sides of the fairway.
Have them all act like Tiger did in his youth when he just walked over, never paid any attention to the guys he was playing against. That would
Right.
be- I don't know why they don't, because, how about, somebody brought this up. Judd brought this up. Sid was always, when he was trying to get us to build a baseball stadium, he's always worried about the shut-ins, right? Remember
Yeah,
when we were going to lose our team? He was worried about the shut-ins.
Right.
Once again, a man ahead of his time. Now we got we're the shut-ins now.
We're the
we want a
shut-ins.
ball game. Come on.
Oh, wouldn't that be a relief to see a ball game?
Oh man, I don't know.
How would
Here's my plan. If you're not going to start till July, you let's say you don't start till July, you go and play the All-Star game. I think it was going to be in Dodger Stadium. You take like the greatest players from the previous decade, the ones that are still playing and still productive. You put together these two teams. You play on Dodger Stadium on a Sunday night, and then you start the season on Tuesday with the fans in the audience. With fans in the stands. I don't want baseball to restart without fans in the stands because I think it's going to be. It should be like 9/11. We made it. Let's go. That only took a week.
Treat it as more festive.
But that's it. We made it to play the games with no fans in the stand. You can play golf without fans in the stands. Who cares? But to play baseball without fans in the stands just adds to our depression, I think.
But what determines if we've made it? Based on today's news, they're not going to play baseball in July. What determines if we've made it or not?
Well, here's the problem. If indeed we're going to wait till the day there's no new cases in the United States of America to start up again,
We're going to wait a
not
long
going to
time.
do anything for 18 months, and there won't be an economy to worry about.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to prove whether we made it or not. I have no idea. But it's of course, if the arc starts going downward, way downward, then they're going to say the reason it's going downward is because we're not standing next to each other,
Right.
and then so we got to continue to do this. So I don't know, but it's amazing, Joe. I was watching something on Netflix last night, and they got kind of a list up top of most popular, like 8 things. 5 of them were pandemic movies. What's wrong with you people?
Really?
Yeah.
Tortured souls.
Pandemic, outbreak, blah, blah, blah. These all turned out to be documentaries, by the way. We thought they were fiction, but
I'm not watching that.
That's about the last thing I'd want to watch at the end of the day.
I am not watching that. No. I am not watching that. That's for sure.
But these
networks, I'm watching some crap movies though to get through that. I watched the Matt Damon Spencer Confidential or something. Wasn't Spencer a TV series with a guy from Boston? Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Robert B. Parker novels.
Yes.
Was Spencer.
Well, it's a 220, so it must be new, but maybe it went released right to Netflix or came and went. Terrible, although there's a woman in there, Iliya Schlesinger or something. She's a comedian, apparently. She was the girlfriend who didn't exactly wait for him in a chaste manner while he spent his 5 years in prison for something. And she was good, but the rest of it, but it was terrible. But I watched it because you got to watch something.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you guys pay attention to ESPN? The relaunch of the Ocho, all of the different crazy sports that they were airing over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Did you guys catch any of this?
I did not.
Australian rules football, are those replays, by the way? They can't be playing down there. They got a terrible...
They're shut down.
It must have been, but some of the stuff that they were airing they had the belly flop competitions,
back in the early years.
Things like that. And there was axe throwing, I believe. And that was pretty funny to see some of that stuff on social media.
One of the great Lee Montville, I actually talked to him about this a couple of years ago, and he barely remembered. But when ESPN first started, and he was still writing for the Globe, but he was also freelancing for Sports Illustrated, and they had him go spend a weekend in a hotel, this is when cable, 5% of the nation had cable, and he wrote about all the crap that was, Australian rules football and how he was getting into it and stuff like that.
I not only remember that, I remember there was a line in it. I think the headline might have been the tube that won't let you up or something like that. Remember that? Something like that.
Yeah.
The channel that won't let you up or...
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hell is it. It's tougher for you. You're a washed-up sports writer. What the hell are you going to do?
I said on Friday or Saturday on Twitter, if this last day, I got 4 ideas for next week. I said
that's it. Yeah.
I said if it lasts 18 months, I only need 152 more.
On Twitter yesterday, Pat.
Let's explain that, Reeves. I'm sorry.
No, go
Let's
ahead.
explain that. One of the great dynamics of being a sports writer, unlike any other type of columnist, is that you have a game to watch.
Yes,
There's
right.
a game to cover. That's the beauty of being a sports columnist.
Yes. Red Smith's great line. Why didn't you write something more important, Red? Why didn't you become a political writer or something?
Right.
You always know where to find a dugout.
That's right. That's right.
But there's no dugouts.
Plus, the way Red did it was important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
important.
The thing about it is Red could see a guy walking across the outfield and get a column out of it.
I know. Red, how do you do 6 a week? I was sitting there at a table with him, and the answer was, God is good.
Well, he's having a bad couple of months right now.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
having a bad Lent. God, this is a bad Lent. Who would have ever guessed that we were going to give up everything for Lent?
Right.
Except food, by the way. I am going to be so bleeping fat when this thing's over. There's nothing to do.
I know.
I want to meet the guy that's held on to the promises of Lent.
Yes, right.
That's the guy I want to meet right now.
Well, it's been easy. The one not to lose a few pounds, that one ain't working.
Not with
for
my
anybody.
vices, Pat. It
What
ain't that
was
easy.
what was the great tweet of God recently? You people have to forgive yourself of your own sins.
Yeah.
I got Jesus in quarantine, something like that.
I'm gonna find it because it was so good. Because I know Royce's a big fan of the tweet of God.
Yeah, he was. I hadn't seen much of his stuff lately, but he's had some good old timers. And he says, Oh, the one on Trump the other day is Trump said that
Donald Trump is the American virus?
No, he
Oh.
said there was a hidden. He said Trump said something about this hidden menace, and Tree to God says, "Hidden? You're right there in front of us."
Here it is. This was back on March 13th from the tweet of God. He says, "I'm forbidding Jesus from working until this is over. You'll all have to die for your own sins now."
That's I wonder who that guy is.
We found out.
They're brilliant. They're
I
brilliant.
think the original one isn't when the rumor he died.
Oh, maybe, but
the
he was a
original
writer
one, and
for.
he was replaced by somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm not. That might not be true.
It was either he was a writer for Conan O'Brien's show, or I can't remember, but he was a professional writer for somebody's either sitcom or talk show.
He was fantastic in the early years. Hey, Twitter's had a good 10 days here or so because people got a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it.
No, but the farmer from Kentucky, folks, you got to look at it.
Yeah, and that was sent to me by John Camp with the heading "Trouble in Northern Wisconsin." Folks, you got to find this. You got to find it.
It's Rex Chapman retweeted it, and Rex Chapman's one of the great follows on Twitter. He's a great retweeter too.
Who is he?
He was a basketball player.
Yeah, then he was a basketball executive, and he jumped in early with kind of the humorous look at it, but also with an occasional hard look. But he's got to do 100 of them a day, right?
Easily,
And in my Twitter feed, I got the Rex Chapman version of it, and I retweeted it a couple of days ago about. But I'll tell you what,
right over there.
Whoever got the old farmer to get in on the joke, they did it perfectly. You know how?
No, Pat. That the whole thing was a pre-planned theater. It wasn't
yes,
some old.
It was.
Yeah,
No. I said whoever was the director.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Saying now. When you take that donut, don't get it way out. Just be sure to take a bite out of it, and don't wave it out there to make it too obvious.
No, just point with it.
Oh my God!
Yeah. You'll see it. You'll know what we're talking about. It's just
we
truly
play
funny.
it, but there's just too much profanity.
You
involved.
know, it was so good that Mrs. Ricey, who has zero appreciation for body humor. Every once in a while I go back and watch the Kings of Comedy.
Right.
That one from Charlotte, the one said, "You better not be in that trunk, Ray. You better not. You got to be the worst bleeping hide and seek player." I love that one because all of them are hilarious.
Oh, Bernie Mac
back then talking about kids. They're bad. Kids are bad. They're bad.
So you lost track of your story.
Anyway.
I'm here to help.
Anyway, Mrs. Ricey would not last 2 minutes if she walked in the room and I was watching that.
Yep.
Right.
But she even laughed when I showed her the donut.
I got the same reaction here too. Yep.
Yeah, she doesn't. She has no. One of my favorite comedians is the guy from Australia, Jim Jeffries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's filthy.
Yeah, he's very funny.
But hilarious. And that I was watching that one night, and she wanted me to get up and go to church. She was, she thought that was like sinful, and she doesn't care about that. Yeah. So, but she thought this one was funny.
The best reply that I saw, and I don't remember who it was from, just said, "Boy, the going rate for toilet paper these days."
Yeah.
Has anyone?
Kenny had the best retweet. He said, "Man, I could go for a donut right now."
Oh man! You know what? It's funny. I wanted to talk to Kenny about something, and in the middle of a pandemic, with nothing going on, you still feel like you really disturbed him.
Yeah.
If you try to make contact during his non-working 23 and a half hours a day.
Speaking of that, Pat, earlier today, we heard from our guy, The Rook, and John, just everybody kind of checking in, and Kenny's response was, "Bleep you all, I'm watching The Young and Restless, so quit bothering me." That was at about 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Is our man still out at the airport?
I believe so.
I believe so.
Is any people out at the airport?
I got to think he's not servicing a great clientele. I got to think they're shrinking.
Things are so bad, the lieutenant colonel, had blow off his retirement ceremony, April 17th. The place in Quantico where it was going to be held is not reopening until May 8th at the earliest. Wow. He retires on April 20th. So no ceremony after 32 years or whatever it is for the lieutenant colonel.
You know, all these dates are meaningless.
Yeah, they're just throwing them out there.
They're meaningless because they're going to keep moving depending if they have to keep moving.
Yes.
They're pointless.
Mm-hmm. And, wow, it's, I mean, as I keep saying, is you can't tell us there's 70% and then panic because there's an extra 25 cases in Minnesota yesterday or 100 or whatever. You know, pretty soon we're not going to be able to count them if it's going to be 70% of us getting this damn thing.
Well, and I'm monitoring it. The governor is set to speak as we talk.
What's he going to close now?
Probably the state.
Yeah. But they're not going to close grocery stores. So
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, pharmacies and
So
stuff
if I
like
see
that.
anything, I'll let you guys know.
I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign, but I get emails from my liquor store, and and they're adjusting hours.
Yeah.
That's about all so far.
Well, you
They're
know,
adjusting hours.
Well, that's been the best part about this COVID thing is every single person that has your email is letting us know how
Right.
they're handling their business amongst
Right.
this crisis.
But you know what's bad? If you're in your 70s, and they can know this about you by, it's easy, looking on the internet, and you still have a home phone,
Yep.
they figure they can sell you. And my phone, I wanted to get rid of the home phone for this very reason, and the wife won't let me. We go from our usual 5 solicitations a day to 20.
wow.
Really.
They're
really.
just constant. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just trying to, and a lot of them are, this is the FBI. If you don't send me a check in 20 minutes, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
We got you on our terrorist list or something. I mean, they all go for the electronic voice that sounds real official too. Just hang up. That's I'm not quite that stupid.
I love when I get a live person so I can tell them what I think.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear about my conversation with the what was her name? Becky, I believe, from the
warranty?
The Republican campaign to reelect.
Oh,
the
yeah, you
president.
told me that.
Yeah. I said, yeah, not here, honey. 2-0 vote says he's a dink.
Yeah.
That was the end of that conversation.
Now he's been having a daily briefing. I don't know if the president has had one yet today.
Oh yeah, the more people tell him, just shut up and let somebody else run it.
Let Pence talk for a little while.
Yeah, or let the guy who knows something talk.
Tony
'Cause
Fauci.
That's why he's getting fired, because every time Trump says something, he has to correct him right later in the day.
Right. Well, I hope he hasn't been fired, by the way.
No, he'll be fired though. This is. By the way, okay, I shouldn't get into this, and I know Kenny was very upset today about the not passing the bill yet. But do we really want to trust Mnuchin to give $500 billion to whoever he wants to?
I don't know where to be on this. Both sides I don't trust.
No,
I just don't trust anybody.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But it's you know what? Yeah. What about the election? Mm-hmm. What if this is still around in the election?
Well, I've told you my view, and now I'm starting to see it from people who are brighter than I am. I said, well, what if he decides that he's just going to say, I'm going to continue to be president here. We're not having an election.
Yeah, it's a national emergency. We can't have an election. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Then you might have a little trouble in the streets, I think. Trouble.
Anyway, I every once in a while, I'm just sitting there because what the hell else is there to do, and and I start thinking this can't be true. This is like
I know.
I just woke up from a hallucination or something.
I know, it's weird, very weird.
This can't be true that we're not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
But it's good for the traffic, Joe.
Oh, my God. You
Traffic
can go
is-
anywhere you want.
When you're whipping around, man.
Those of us that live in South Dakota, as the mayor likes
Are
to say,
happy.
we're very happy.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. How's the bride doing, though, being in the medical field? I worry about her.
She was a little stressed last night. Just not. It's the unknown that's kind of.
This girl doesn't deserve it. after being married to you all those years when she had so many better options.
Much better.
Much better options. Wealthy. You know what? If she would have taken all her options, she'd be in Aruba, not worrying about this, on the yacht. And they'd have a sanitized yacht in Aruba. Instead, she's got you and the two monsters,
Yep.
and then she's got to go to the hospital and hope
But Pat,
that she
just think
doesn't.
of, instead of that yacht in Aruba, just think of how many great town ballparks she would have missed over the
Right.
last
I've-
15 to 20
I've
years.
seen her a few times. Yeah, she's gotten to go to Webster. So what
See?
the hell?
What's the difference? Webster or Aruba? Come on.
Well, Reeves doesn't have the yacht, but he did bring home a beat-up old Jag that
Yeah.
got detailed by Schoonover Body Works.
yeah.
It looks pretty good.
I tell you, it looked great. It looked
Yep.
new. What'd that
Yep.
cost you?
Kenny, not much. A
Kenny-
couple $100
Kenny got you a deal, huh?
Well, Kenny drove me up there. We turned the corner, and he went, "Holy bleep! Look at your car," because he had it parked out front.
I thought it was. I didn't think it was yours. I thought they were joking.
Well, I told Mike, I said, "Thanks. No, I'm not going to sell the damn thing. It looks great."
Wow. Oh, it looks fantastic. Yeah, unreal. So
Pat, you know the way golf works at St. Andrews in Scotland.
Yes.
It's also as the town park.
Yes.
And kids walking home
Well,
from school
right.
or walking across the golf course, and the golfers are playing. That's what Highland looked like yesterday. The course is not officially open, but there were numerous
really?
golfers
People just
with
went out and played. Huh?
and people walking their dogs. It was like St. Andrews.
I will say one thing: the Dave Dahl and the boys have done us a solid here with the weather over the last since I got back from Florida. We had flurries once, maybe. I don't know. It's been great.
And nothing last night that had to be worried about. That's melted already.
No, it's been great. So it's the weather's. I don't think we needed a good blizzard in the middle of this, do we?
Well, we're still got our April blizzard to look forward to. We've had them the past 2 years.
You know, one bad thing though is you'd think with a wife with a broken ankle who's basically bedridden. Well, she can get up and go into the office, but with a pandemic going on, it'd be good for my budget, my budget. But the Amazon guy hasn't driven by our house without stopping in 10 days.
Right.
10 days.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you tip those guys?
No, you hide and hope it's not for you. But it's I don't know. The other day the other day we had a twofer. We stopped once and then I climb off the steps and then they stopped.
The two
again.
guys are having a conversation in your
don't know.
driveway. Hey, what are you doing, Fred?
Those guys. How often do those guys got to wash their hands?
You know what? It just occurs to me that I'm sitting here in the office of the mayor, and I'm looking at a photograph that's very poignant. It's the CP and the two female kids I used to have
right.
in New York.
Yes.
And behind them are the Twin Towers.
Holy
the
cow.
picture was taken in late August of 2001.
Wow.
Late August of 2001.
And the way things are going in New York City, it's going to look like that again here, man. Alive as far as.
The only update I have from Walls, gentlemen, is he has ordered a halt on evictions in the state of Minnesota. We kind of saw that coming.
I think most landlords wouldn't have done throwing you out.
You certainly would hope not. He also says, this is according to Tom Hauser, Governor Walz says models show 40% to 80% of Minnesotans will likely be infected with COVID-19. The state is now at 235 cases. He says 982 people were tested yesterday.
See?
I have a question.
If it's 40%, we got a year, right? We got a
But
year.
what determines? So, if you develop symptoms, are you a candidate for a test? Is that how it works?
I don't know.
Well, they don't have enough tests. They don't want.
So, let's say you get the terrible symptoms. Do you haul your sorry ass down to a hospital and say, "Can I get a test?"
What are the symptoms? You're
Feverish,
supposed to have the fever, right?
coughing.
You got to have the good fever and a driving cough, right?
Well, Joe, maybe we should play that Florida politician, what he thinks.
Why, the
can
guy
combat
from Okeechobee?
Yep, the hair dryer
You
guy.
got that one?
Blow dryer.
Yeah, blow dryer. You stick it right up there. You
But you got to get your
burn the hell out of your brain.
You got to get your nostrils up to 135. Oh my God. 135. I don't want 135-degree nostrils, do you?
Well, we're starting
No.
to keep the file in Garage Logic, Pat. The last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of doozies. This was
let me
one of
tell
them.
Pat.
Yeah,
Let me
here we
tell
go,
Pat.
Here we go.
I'm starting to keep a list. Pat,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, we had a lady that realized after 2 years she had been watering a plastic plant.
Yeah, but,
That-
but it was maintaining its
Oh,
color
it's Very
nicely, right?
beautiful.
That was followed up by an emailer who said, that plastic plant story reminds me that I was at my parents' house, my brother came home for dinner one time for college, and we had mashed potatoes on the table, and he sees a bowl, and he puts it all he spoons it onto the mashed potatoes, and he takes a bite, and he thinks, this tastes different. And he said to his mom, what's different about these potatoes? And she said, well, what did you do? He said, well, I put this stuff on. And he points to the bowl, and she says, that's hand lotion. Okay, I got another one for you.
Okay.
A lady in Vancouver, Washington. After about day 3, she realizes she had been washing her hands with a brick of cheese. She left out one night after too much imbibing.
Yeah.
And then today we got a World War II story about a
Okay.
guy telling us about Grandma. They lived in Rome, Italy, and it was quite a serious problem. The people in Rome were scrounging for food during World War II, and the little girls came upon a package of pancake mix, and they took it home, and they were just so thrilled. They figured they were going to be eating for a month, and their mom took it out of the bag and actually made it, and they bit into it, and it was real crunchy, and it turns out it was concrete mix.
Bad for the teeth.
Really bad for the teeth. So I'm keeping that. We're going to add to that list.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have a hell of a file going here.
Yeah. That's a
we
file.
might have a long, long time to
A long file.
Stick that blow dryer up there.
Pat,
That'll
like
get
I
rid of it.
told the boys today, I said, what's your hurry? We got nothing but time.
No, we got
Nothing but time.
We do. We need more. You know what I watched again yesterday? Bullet.
Oh, I
And
love that movie.
I love that movie. And you know who's good looking when she was
Jacqueline
about 20?
Bisset.
Jacqueline Bisset would make you, as you say, bite your knuckles. When
That's
you
right.
Kind of do this, right?
Leave home on Christmas morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. She couldn't have been over 20. And you know what? Steve, he didn't have the long life he was hoping for. He died in his 50s. He went everywhere in the world to try to cure that cancer. I don't blame him.
Right.
He had a tendency to be in
Pat,
movies with
Pat,
good-looking
Pat,
women. Yes.
Pat, UPS alert. More cardboards coming up the side,
okay, all
coming
right.
up the driveway.
All right, good. That means it'll be in my place about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have begged her. I said, I don't ask for much, and I haven't been that
the fact
bad of
that
a
I've
guy.
lost half my money in the
Right.
last
I said, could we have a cardboard-free month? Just give me.
month. How
Yeah.
about a cardboard-free Monday?
How about a cardboard? Okay. How about give me a cardboard-free week?
There
Just
you go.
1 week.
Just a week.
I feel
Yeah.
sorry for those guys, though, man. Those Amazon, they must
That's
be
why I'm
working
saying.
18-hour days.
I think I'm going to start tipping them.
How's your guy out in Hopkins doing? So what do? You call up 3
Oh.
bales. You call up and they bring something out to the curb.
I ordered takeout from there. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday last week? You call ahead, you place your order, and I went inside and picked up because there was nobody in there. It was just Alex, the guy the manager there. But they'll come out to your car if you want to pull up to the side there. 30bales.com. Thanks for the plug, Pat.
This is a walleye season at Culver's, by the way. Walleye sandwich season. They always have good fish sandwiches, but their walleye, they only run those certain times a year. So
Well, probably Lent has something to do with that.
yes, that's true. But the bride and I decided we were going to have walleye sandwiches the other day. And I got out there, and you couldn't go in the store.
Oh.
And the takeout was like 30. The drive-through had to be 30 cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a gal's walking out to deliver something, and I said, "What's the deal here?" And she says, "Well, you can call in an order." So I call in the order, find out what it costs, give her $25, and say, "Bring it back out when she gets it." And I snookered them, as my brother used to say. I snookered them. Boy, I hope it stays away from Michael, my brother. Oof.
Yeah. He's a little
He
compromised.
don't have those good lungs, man.
Right.
Those good lungs. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've been on the air long enough today.
Okay.
That'll That'll do it.
Hey, another guy I gotta send out best wishes to is the great Bill Millsaps from the Richmond paper. I used to sit next to him at the Masters every year. What a great character! Ended up being the editor there. But he's having some issues, and appears those 40 years of Pall Mall's kind of caught up to him.
Oh,
but,
boy.
Good luck to Bill. God, was he funny, or still is, I hope.
What paper? Richmond, Virginia?
Richmond Times-Dispatch, yeah. Sat next to me one day. I'm still hacking, and 3 p.m, it's like Wednesday before it starts, and I said, and he gets up and he's leaving. I said, Bill, where the hell are you going? He says, amazing how fast you can be done when you have no pride. He liked his whiskey when they had a house there, and the bunch of those Southern boys had a house that they rented, and there was some bourbon consumed at that one, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that was the place for it, baby.
All right, Mayor. Let's play golf. Let's change our mind and play the Masters without fans. Come on, let's go.
I really wish they would. I really do. That's unlikely, but I just don't see what the harm would be if you're not going to allow the people.
They had a couple of tournaments they had a tournament in Arizona yesterday. One of those backup tours. They
Was it on TV?
No.
Oh.
You know what was on TV? The virtual NASCAR.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
It's going to end up being the big hit of the year. You know, they have all the guys are racing their own cars. Virtual TV. It's great.
Well, any sport that can figure out how to televise right now would be an instant blockbuster. Mm-hmm. Blockbuster.
I have a friend who was once in the Philippines and went to midget wrestling.
Yeah,
where they gambled.
Maybe with the exception of midget wrestling.
Gambling, lots of gambling taking place. We now call it small person wrestling.
That's right, small person wrestling.
Small person wrestling. So I tweeted him and said, any reports, any updates from the Far East on the small person wrestling circuit? And he hadn't checked lately, so I don't know. So.
Might that be a fellow who has had his retirement suspended?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, I thought you were talking about your own kid.
Oh no, not the you'd never become a lieutenant colonel if you were bragging about batting on midget wrestling in the Philippines.
I'm just asking to confirm.
No, but he is. You know, one more story. Edna, my daughter-in-law, somewhat cautious and suspicious of mankind. You know,
right. I know Edna.
Edna's very high-strung. Yeah. She basically, when he gets back from the Pentagon, she basically makes him get undressed and it sprays him before he can get in the house. She knows there. I said, if it gets Edna, we're all out of luck, man, because there's nobody more cautious.
Well, what was
than
Sanibel
Edna.
Jim's line?
Pat, we got a loyal listener, a good guy, Sanibel Jim, who lives in Sanibel in the winter.
Yeah, sure.
He inquired today. He says, "How long is this social distancing supposed to last?" He said, "The wife's been trying to get back in the house."
A lot of social distancing jokes out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
See you,
See you,
fellas.
gents.
Take care, Monday Night Sports Talk fans.